Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is how to find subcontractors. So there's really 4 main ways to find subcontractors that we found, and I'm going to tell you kind of a little bit of just about how we found our crews and how we find our crews doing our projects that we do now. So there's 4 main ways of finding subcontractors crews. The first way is over Facebook, believe it or not. Most of you have a Facebook account, and if you don't, that's fine. You may want to consider having one just for some of the tools that you can use for business and some of the things we're going to talk about later. But one of the great things about Facebook is the groups in Facebook. So a great way of being able to find subcontractors is joining some of the local buy-sell groups where you're doing your work. If it's in your hometown, there's buy-sell groups or online yard sales. And there's also roofing groups. There's tons of roofing groups out there. There's I think I'm a member of like 10 or 12 of the roofing groups. So there's a lot of groups that you can actually join. Now with the buy-sell groups, you can just post in there, hey, I'm with TRT Roofing and we're looking to hire a subcontracting crew to do a 40 square shingle job in Johnson City, Tennessee. And a lot of times you'll get people tag other people or they'll start contacting you in those Facebook groups. The same thing applies to if you join some of the roofing groups. There's some specific groups in there for subcontractors where you can go and post the same thing. Hey, I'm looking for some subcontractors because I need the 40 square shingle job done in Johnson City, Tennessee. And so a lot of times those guys will reach out to you. Now, again, you're going to have to do your vetting. I'll talk about that at the end because there's no guarantee they do great work. You don't know. The next way that I think is just a underutilized way of finding good roofing crews is just driving around neighborhoods. Go around some nicer neighborhoods where either the shingles are really old or the roofing material in general is really old. There's been a storm in that area recently, especially days where it's really nice and warm. Those are great times to go just searching for a crew because somebody in your local area has got a crew that's doing some work. And if you just drive up, be respectful, try to find out if the actual roofing company is out there or the salesman. And if they are, just be polite to say, hey, I got a project coming up. I'm trying to get a roofing crew. Do you mind if I talk to these guys? If they're out there, they may or may not, but just be respectful. And if they're not very warm about you using their crews, just understand that you're competition and be respectful about it. And drive around until you find one. That's just a great way. And I guarantee you'll find a crew within 2 or 3 hours if you do this. That may sound like a long time, but I promise you, finding a really good crew, it's just a big deal. It's gonna be a big thing for your business is finding good crews to work for you. Okay, so that's another way of finding good crews. Another way is just asking around to other tradesmen. Maybe you know somebody that does drywall or does painting or does fencing. They probably know somebody that does roofing. Now, again, you want to ask and get some references, make sure they do good work and stuff like that. But again, we're going to get to the end of how you're going to be able to finally figure out whether these guys do work or not, or do good work or not at the end. But that's another great way of just being able to find contractors. Now, the last way is you can go to Home Depot, you can go to Lowe's and see if you can see some guys carrying around some shingles. That's kind of a good way. But you can just ask them at the supply house, whether you're going to a big box store or you're going to a building supply company, ask them if they know of any crews. Make sure you tell them you don't want a roofing company, that you want the subcontracting crew, the workers. See if they know anybody. And almost all of them, if they know someone, they know if they're good or bad. And that's kind of one way to vet crews before you even work for them, because most of the time those building supply companies or the people at Lowe's or Home Depot are going to know. And like I said, if you go to Lowe's or Home Depot and you see some guy walking around with a bundle of shingles or some pipe boots or some underlayment, you're going to know, hey, this guy does roofing work. And if it's not him, it's one of his runners, and he'll give you his boss's name. So now one of the things I am going to talk about is in the South, especially if you're getting ready to start a company, there's a lot of Latinos who are the subcontractors. So if you don't speak Spanish, that might be something you want to at least learn some greetings, like some hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien. puedes hacer trabajo en los techos. Sorry, my Spanish is a little rusty right now. But point is there are a lot of Latinos that do roofing crews and or roofing crews, and so those guys in particular, if you see them carrying around roofing material, most of the time they're going to be the crews working. So depending on what part of the country you're in, but mainly in the South, like anywhere from jobs that we've done from Virginia all the way over to California. I mean, it's mainly a lot of Latino crews that are especially in the shingles and doing a lot of the sloped roofs. You're going to find a lot of those crews. So don't be afraid to come up and talk to those guys. Even if they don't speak a lot of English, they're going to know what you're talking about. The point is, you need to find you some subcontracting crews. Now, sometimes, guys, like you're going to want to see if they have any references. You're going to, normal stuff, the workers' comp and general liability, which we'll talk about again in detail in a moment. Maybe some pictures of some jobs. See if they can give you some references. A lot of times you're not going to know what kind of work they do until they do it. So sometimes you got to roll the dice and just hire a company. Okay. The company that does almost all of our sloped roofing jobs is a guy named Angel, and we discovered him by just driving around the neighborhood, and we saw he was doing roofing work. We got his information, and he started off just doing residential roofing for us, and now if it's a sloped roof and he can travel, he'll go do it. He started off just being able to, and this is a relationship we built over 5 years. He started off just being able to do shingles. Now he can install cedar shake. He can do synthetic roofing products. He can install slate. He can install metal shingles. You name it, he can install it now on a sloped roof. And we're proud that we've been able to grow with him because, again, this is a relationship. Every time I come anywhere close to Angel where he's at, I take him out to lunch because he's so important to our business. And that was just the way we met him. Was we met him through just seeing him in a neighborhood working, and we thought he did really good work. Other way, I mean, since we do projects all over the country, if you scale your business to what we're doing, there's going to be opportunities where you're going to have to look for subs in these Facebook groups. You're going to have to call local suppliers. These are just tools for you to be able to find subcontracting crews, whether it be roofers, people that do fencing, windows, gutters. You're just going to have to be resourceful to try to find these subcontractors to do work for you.